Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure for us, for the World Tennis Conference, to have Carlos Kirmayr from Brazil. Hello, Carlos. Thank you to be on the World Tennis Conference like main speaker.
Thank you, Fernando. Thank you, GPTCA, all the organizations. Congratulations for this major event.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna introduce first your great historic, career on tennis. You did a lot like a former tennis player, and also with a great coach, and also like a tennis developer with your academies and successful different programs. Carlos was a former ATP player, arriving to the 36 on the world in singles and number 6 in doubles. He was Davis captain from Brazil for many years. Also, like a tennis coach, he did a wonderful career working with players like Gabriela Sabatini, which he won the US Open with her and 11 titles, with Arantxa Sanchez Vicario, with Conchita Martinez, also winning a lot of titles too. He's working actually in his academy, developing a lot of young players with special programs. It's a great pleasure for GPTCA and Segal Institute to have you on board. And he will present talking about the difference between women's and male tennis from junior to professional, which is a huge subject to talk. It's talking about this. Let's talk about your experience at the beginning in your career when you were tennis player at that time.
Well, Fernando and everybody, it's a pleasure to be here with you. And as far as my career, when I got involved playing tennis, my first big step was going to college in the United States. I played for 2 universities, San Jose Modesto Junior College for 2 years, and San Jose State for 2 years, both in California. And I could say that I learned how to compete and to be a distinguished player there. Then I became a Davis Cup player, and then I tried the circuit, but we are talking about the circuit in 1972. Everything was different. There was no organized tennis as it is today. There was no ATP or WTA. Everything was done by the associations or private organizers. And so there was no major hand. There was the ITF, but the ITF had only the Slams and the Davis Cup and Fed Cup. But my involvement was, I loved playing tennis. I loved the atmosphere of tournaments, tennis courts, and then I became addicted to traveling. I loved seeing the world, meeting new friends, airports, restaurants, new people. That was my drug, and that's what I got involved with. And I did that until I was 37 years old. I played for longer than most players played at my time. And that was my beginning. And then I went into coaching. I prepared myself to become a coach while I was a tennis professional. I took some courses with Dennis van der Meer at the beginning, and I learned a lot that I did not know, only being a pro. There was a lot to be learned outside of being a pro or just competing. Teaching is a much different experience or knowledge that you must have to be good at. So I took care of that.
So yeah, you did an extensive career. Did you start to coach when you are still playing, or you stop and then you start to coach?
Actually, I started with tennis clinics right at the beginning of my professional playing career. I was about 25, 26. I got involved in a big academy here in Brazil, and we did the first experience with tennis clinics that was unknown in South America or in Brazil. So it was a huge experience. I had about 10 coaches under my supervision, even though I was not that experienced, but I started to learn there. And then I played professionally for another 13 years. And but I was running an academy, and I ran courses for tennis coaches because I needed them. And so I got really involved. I loved being involved with tennis in all levels. So it was a true experience for me.
Yeah,
learning experience.
no, absolutely.
Still is.
Yeah, absolutely. You did a lot. Talking about your subject, no, in terms how it became, because you are one of the most successful guys on women tennis in terms, because you did a lot and you coached one of the probably three of the best top 10, top 15 players in the history of tennis, like Conchita Aranza and Gabi Sabatini, how was that? Why you are one thing is why you are so successful, and then why you become like a great women's tennis coach.
Well, thank you. I would say I was lucky to be chosen to begin with to coach Gabriela. Gabriela was, when I started to coach her, she was in a crossroads, deciding what she was going to do. Even though she was 20 years old, she was a little bit confused at the moment, and I had the experience as a player. I had some experience as a coach, not specialized in women. Actually, I didn't know much about women's tennis until I really got into it. And so with Gabriela was a wonderful experience, because she was a very, very dedicated player, very, very disciplined player. So it was a pleasure being with her and being able to tell her a few things, because she was a player that was ready to succeed. She was just not having the best results yet. And then we did a few things that nothing that I taught her. She already, the package was ready when I started to coach her. So with her it was pure pleasure. Of course, it's coaching tennis is a stressful job, and with women, I had coached some guys before, and it's a little bit different. You sleep in the same room with them, you go out with them, you do different things, just because two men do things differently. And with a woman, it was a bit different. It was a more careful relationship, picking words, choosing the right words to say, understanding her background and her past experiences. So it's a one-on-one situation that you have. The coach has the responsibility of learning who the player is, how the player reacts to different things, and I think we did well for a while. We did well while it lasted. Because it also has a time period of success, most cases, because it's a lot of hours together, and that makes the relationship tough, because the coach is there for just about every situation, not only coaching tennis or being there for tennis. So it was great. I really I really learned so much. Probably the best classroom I had was when I was on the women's tour.
Yeah, and I'm talking about this. If you take, the three big experiences with Arantxa, with Conchita, and with Gabriela, uh, which are the main conclusion that you can recommend for coaches talking about, coming through that experiences?
Three different people. They were three different personalities, three great personalities. Gabriela had a personality different than Conchita and different than Arantxa, even though they had characteristics that were similar. Mm-hmm. But the treatment, the day by day situations, the daily programming of the routine, they were all different. So I think the advice that I give to a coach is that when you're going to coach a woman, they are not all alike, and the same with guys. They're all different. Probably the next question will be, what's the difference between coaching guys and girls? I would say that the respect that we have to have to each male or female players, and it's not, there are obvious differences, the physical differences, the power difference, the resistance difference, but as a coachable player, man or woman, we have to understand them individually, because I have coached guys that are more sensitive than some women that I coached. I had to pick better words to speak to a man than maybe to a woman. Maybe to a woman I could, or not woman, I could be very direct and very objective, and another woman I would have to go around and pick better words and not be so rough or tough with words or situations, and I think it's with individuals. I think we don't coach men or women. We coach individuals that need some kind of attention, that need some kind of solution for their situations and problems that are totally different one or the other. And I wouldn't characterize coaching men and women. No, maybe if you coach a team of women on college tennis or men's tennis, college tennis, and you have to deal with a group, maybe you take one kind of a positioning, a male positioning or a female positioning. But I prefer one-on-one attention. I prefer to take players aside and talk to them individually, because they're all individuals and they all have different ways to solve their problems.
Yeah, perfect. And I know that all the coaches which are participating in the World Tennis Conference by GPTCA and C will enjoy your comments, because that's the key. We'll treat the player like a human being first, and second, like a tennis player. No, you are right. We have a lot of questions about it, but one thing, going back at the time that I think, Carlos, you did a great connection with the players. One of the key aspects that you, from outside, from the point of how you are looking for others, you always show a great connection with players. How was, the days before of the US Open final with Gabriela? How was the main focus on your communication? Because you did speak right now on a very important aspect, which is a crucial aspect, which is communication. Coaches have to be masters on communication, no? Motivation and communication, no? And how was let's speak about how was the process, if you can remember some key points what happened there.
Well, as I said, with Gabriela winning the U.S. Open, it was in a way surprising, because she was not going through a great moment. But that's when great moments happen, when you're confused and when you're looking for directions or solutions, and you're not in a comfort zone. The good results, they come when you are not in a comfort zone. You are struggling and you are wanting more than what you're giving. So as I remember, we hadn't been together for that long, about two and a half months. But there were things that I had identified that she could do so well, and she was not using. And one of them, and I think the key element of becoming a winner from that moment on, and winning a lot of important matches that she didn't win before, was the courage to do everything that she knew how to do. And one of the things that she was not being courageous was going into the net, because she was an excellent volleyer. Maybe the only one that could volley better than her on her time was Martina.
Yeah.
And Martina was an excellent volleyer.
Yeah.
And Gabriela was as good as Martina, but she didn't have the habit, because she had such great ground strokes. She had such a powerful counter-attack game that you come in and I'll pass you. I don't have to come in. The net's too far away. But she, at one moment, at one match specifically, which was against Mary Jo Fernandez, she was losing at one set down, and she started to come in. And we had talked about that, and she started to come in. And it worked, and intimidated Mary Jo. Mary Jo was with no response to what she was doing. And the next day, Gabriela was tired, because the match with Mary Jo was a long match, was hot, windy, and she had the same approach to the match. And she came in a lot. She had a game plan that she would come in on Steffi's back end, of course, and was successful. And she started to believe in herself. She started to believe that there was a plan B, or maybe a plan A, to use, not just wait for the player or play long points, which helped a lot, because at moments when you're tired, you don't want to play long points, and that's what she did. So she won the U.S. Open, and one thing that means a lot to me was that her record on 15 matches against Steffi Graf prior to our relationship was 14-1 to Graf. And then they played, while we were together, they played 10 more times, and she won 7 out of 10. And she served to win Wimbledon twice in 1981, and she ended up losing the match. That would have been 8-2, which, the match was very close, very great match. She could have won, but she lost. But her record during 2 years or 2.5 years that we were together first, she won 7 out of 10. So that makes me proud because I'm sure her attitude, her courage, which was encouraged by me, was paid off.
No, and we know you put it a lot on terms of the relationship and the way that you manage the relationship with her. And tell us, if it's possible, some key words that you use it, because you are a person which irradiate good energy, good vibes. You create confidence. You are a person that you create a very positive environment for the player. How you reinforce that. How you work to uh, keywords or some recommendations that the coaches can use on that.
Fernando, I wouldn't remember key words, but I think key perceptions. I think the perceptions that a player needs a proper preparation. They need to get out of the practice court confident, sure of themselves. They have to have a certain comfort on their pre-match preparation. They have to kind of isolate themselves. They have to isolate their thoughts, and that's something that the coach is there to do. And that's because since I was a player, and in my time we didn't have the luxury of a coach or some advisor next to us in the locker room or in the restaurant or in the room or in our hotel room. So I think the perception of the coach of preparing their player properly, that will translate into confidence, translate into I can win. Why not me? And so that's I think that's the the things that a coach can do.
Wonderful.
Just a second.
Yeah, that's okay.
Oh, my battery. Well, let's see. Back. Sorry.
No, that's okay. We keep going. Let's talk about, because at that time, if you compare what happened, Gabriela and Conchita, even Arancha, they mix it up, a lot of strokes, a lot of tactical ways to play. Talking about them, but then also then it's coming to tennis, a superpower situation, more straight strokes on women's tennis, and apparently it's coming back to mix some different stroke, uses slice a little more, changing the pathway. It's like women's tennis is coming back, at that time, but with another speed, because 25 years or 20 years of evolution of tennis, the speed, there is an increment of the speed of the game, and also the level of the power that every player is putting. But how you see actually the women's tennis?
A great improvement. 30 years ago, maybe 20 players were fit, women players. And today, 100% of the top 100 are fit. So they're fit, they're fitter, they're bigger girls, they're stronger, they're better fed, their nutrition is better, their recuperation is better. So it's 30 years of development of better human beings. So naturally, the speed of the game picked up, the power of the game picked up, and there are things that the women players did 30 years ago, they wouldn't have the same success. Like, for example, Graf wouldn't have the same success with her technique today. Her slice back, and even though it was the best the women's tennis, most likely, she wouldn't get away with it. She would be attacked so badly on the back, and she wouldn't be able to run around the forehand like she did in the past.
Yeah.
So I think the main thing that changed women's tennis was the fitness, the power, the strength, all together, you know. And even though, you know, it's necessary to have all the shots, have the slices, have the volleys, come into the net, have a great overhead. You have to have all that. And in the past, not every successful women player had, you know, the whole arsenal of strokes and that they had.
Yeah, it's very clear. Are you listening? Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk. How was to travel if you compare what you did on males tennis with male players with female players? Because to travel in tennis is a big aspect. No, it's not the same. Sometimes you can find good players in a country, but immediately when they start to travel around and to have different tournaments, different countries, different meals, different bets, whatever, you have to adjust. No, how is the big difference between them?
Well, I think the top maybe 200 players in the world, or maybe 150, you know, they don't know how to scramble. You know, they never heard of that. You know, and when they have a small difficulty, they complain. Back in the old days, we you know, we traveled in VW buses. I lived myself in a VW bus for four months while I was, you know, getting ready for the Rio tour. Stayed in hotels with no bathroom, no shower, no toilet, and you know, the meals were not 5-star meals. The tournament didn't offer a 5-star buffet for the players. No, we didn't stay in 5-star hotels. So today's obviously is much easier, but still there are players that are not accustomed or used to tough times. You know, everything is easy. They complain. Look at the players complaining in Australia. The country opened their doors to a country where they had 500 cases of or something like that of COVID-19, and the players have to stay in the room, and even though they're staying in the room, but they're practicing 5 hours a day. They have courts or they have facilities for 5 hours a day. You know, in many Grand Slams, you were lucky if you got half an hour in 4. You know, and so things are much easier today, I would say. You know, things are much more organized. Players make a lot more money than they made in the past. So can't complain. Shouldn't complain.
Yeah, sure. What about,
What?
That's okay. Let me ask you something. How was to deal with parents? No, because parents is a big aspect to develop players, and we know that the parents of each big player that you had was a strong influence too for the players. Yeah, talking
Sure.
about the women's tennis, and how you manage that.
Well, I think first of all we have to put ourselves in their position, being a parent. And once you have a son or a daughter, you start to understand the insecurities of a tennis parent. You know, because usually they don't understand the business, the you know, the surroundings, or of the difficulty of competing, and everything that takes to get prepared to compete. You know, all the training, dealing with coach, dealing with opponents, dealing with tournament directors and all that. And I think is the obligation of the coach to make sure that the parents understand what they are getting into, and their responsibilities, because they have huge responsibilities as parents. Support team for the player, for their daughter or son. So I think helped me a lot to have that very clear in my mind, to have the courage to tell them what they can do, what they cannot do, what they should do, and what they should not do. Because once they understand their role, they can help a lot. And once they help a lot, that's a big help for the player and for their son or daughter. Because the son or daughter, obviously they're going to listen to their parents. They are the parents, and the coach is an outsider. But if the coach brings in good information, healthy information, positioning, not being afraid of losing his job, because many times the coach does not is not 100% truthful, because sometimes if you're 100% truthful, you're going to lose your job. That easy, So being truthful to the parents, having all the information that they need to know, writing it down, making a list. Okay, let's talk about tennis. I have 5 hours here to let you know, or to get all your doubts and that you have out of the way, so you understand it perfectly. So I think that's our role with the parents, is to be very honest, truthful, so that they can understand more and more where their kids got into and where they are getting into.
Yeah, and you did have a relationship. If you remember that time, let's remember Osvaldo, who was a good guy. Osvaldo, the father of Gabriela, was a very smart guy, very good guy, strong personality. Probably Gabriela needs to have a father like this, or like an environment. Also, talking about that time, is the father of Celeste, the father of Steffi Graf, for strong parents, great personality, great fighters. Also, it's I think at that time show us a lot behind the tennis player. Always there are the parents, pushing, supporting, like you say, be cooperative, and it's like you say very clearly, coaches have to work on that. Very good. Let me ask you about how you manage because in terms, the feelings, the feelings of the player when you work with a female player, how you, because the player used to say, I don't feel the ball, I don't feel well, I don't feel, we didn't speak about, we didn't watch the ball, no? Now, how you manage, the feeling situation, not only the perception of the coach, how you manage the emotion of the player, and how you help them, to manage that.
With respect, because I don't feel the ball, or I don't feel whatever, the racket or the strings. Players, they are, they have their crazy side, and their crazy side is totally acceptable. We have to accept that they are insecure, pressure 7 days a week. And so we just have to talk about it. We have to relax, laugh. Oh, you don't feel the ball. Yeah. Fine. Do you want to stop playing? Do you want to stop now, or you want to try to feel the ball? Hit it into the fence, hit it into the lake, hit it into your feet. That's all right. Don't worry about it. But I think we are there also to take the pressure away. We have to have the the humorous side of this, the whole thing. Yeah, let's not forget that this is just a game, okay? The game that somebody very, very smart and crazy invented, and we take it seriously. We make it our profession, you know, but it's still a game. It's still a game with many facets that are very interesting to understand. And okay, let's not play against this side of the net. Let's play against the other side of the net. Because if we start to play against us, ourselves, our strokes, our physical conditioning, our racket, our strings, our whatever, how about the opponent? What are their weaknesses? Where can we dig something interesting so that during the match we can use it against them? You know, so I think there are things that you are solving at that moment, and you have to have, you know, I think, as I said, me having played, and I played for a long time, and I saw players come into the circuit, leave the circuit for various reasons. And so, you know, somebody that's experienced most likely will have solutions for, you know, I don't feel the ball.
Yeah. How was a couple more questions? We are almost in the end of our presentation. A couple more questions. How was the difference and the comparison at your time with the women's circuits? Because now it's too professional everything. We have WTA and ATP, of course. The starting days were the same for women's tennis, for men's tennis. How was the relationship between the women's tennis with the men players? No?
Well, we actually, back before ATP and WTA days, all the tournaments were men and women together, and we played mixed doubles. You know, and it was fun. It was fun because we were all together, and it was more colorful. You know, more real, because there were men and women. You know, the moment that the men's tour became a men's tour, and there were only men there, no, it was fine, but it was not as colorful as was before, and it was separated for obvious reasons. And because the ATP was founded, and immediately after the WTA was founded, with the same base philosophy to protect the players and to organize the players, to organize prize money, to organize weeks of the calendar, and we went different ways. You know, Rome, men was 1 week and women was another week. Only the Grand Slams maintained the men and women situation, which is great. I think is very, you know, for the public it's very rich and colorful. See so many different aspects of the game all together.
It's nice. A couple more questions to end your presentation. It's which kind of a recommendation you can do for coaches if you compare male and women's, but more than women's tennis, because there is a lot of young coaches listening this conference. Let's say we can give 3, 4, 5 points, key points that you recommend for all your experiences for them.
Well, the moment that we are hired by a player that already is in the circuit and is established player, I think you know, the first meetings are very, very important to understand the player. I think us coaches, we have to have a basic list of our philosophy of coaching and handling the job, and talk it over and talk it out, and doesn't matter how long it takes, and then make a trial period to see if it works out. You know, 2 personalities. You know, maybe a coach that is hired by an established player is already known by the player, because the player or the agent is the one that picks the coach.
Yeah.
Sometimes the family picks the coach, but I think the first step for the coach is position himself or herself as the beliefs that they have for the job. Of course, and then you go a bunch of important things as number of weeks that will be practicing or playing on the road. Is the job going to be shared by another coach, or who the team of who who are the members of the team as far as physical trainer or physiotherapist or whoever. If there are more members of the players' entourage that travel all the time, because the coach has to relate to everybody, because any one of those can disturb the performance, or the orientation of the coach. The coach has to be the number one advisor, and he has to have the team behind him. So I think that's one of the main things that a coach could do to start the relationship. A really long and very open, honest conversation with the player, and understand the goals of the player, where he or she wants to get to. I think it all makes sense to empty all the doubts and the possibilities in this conversation.
Yeah. And then the last question, because people wants to know, you did a lot for tennis, and what you are doing now, which is your project. You are in Brazil, close to São Paulo, but you can talk with people because you are working with players of all over ages, but it's important to know what you are doing right now.
Great, thank you. Well, today I have a program. I'm 160 kilometers from the capital of São Paulo, of the state of São Paulo, the city of São Paulo, in a town called Serra Negra. I'm outside of a town of 25,000 people. I'm a rural area where I have my club, and I have a program that prepares. Well, it's high performance program where they go to school. They do high school, the last 3 or 4 years of high school, and they become English speaking persons. They have an English course that prepares them for the SAT and the TOEFL, which are the exams that American universities want. And I encourage them to go to do this process and go to an American university, because I believe it's a good formation of the personality to be able to study, play, learn, understand a different culture, maybe get a degree, because and a few that are very, very high performance kids that have been that come from high performance families, which is very important to understand. Families that taught their kids to be high performance in every aspect. Usually they come from high performance families, and maybe there will be one that at 17, 18 that shows something very, very great and special and outstanding world, based on the world level, maybe top ITF player to, to follow, and if they have enough money and if they have enough support, to go into the to the pros.
Yeah.
To the pros. We haven't seen a pro at 18 in decades that make money, that pays for their ticket, pays for their living. Very few. So 99.9% of the kids around the world that are high performance tennis players will not make it into the pros. And what do we do with them? What can we do with them to keep them in the game, and understand that their best tennis will, if they're normal, their best tennis will be played from 23, 24 years of age onwards. If they understand that, they will stay in the game. They play the game. They play college tennis. They keep on developing. They keep on investing effort in their own dream. It has to be a dream. They have to be totally in love with tennis. Otherwise, they will not make it. Any sacrifice, the one that is in love will have no problems in doing. It will not be a problem. It will be a pleasure, to keep on doing what they want to do. So that's what I'm doing. I'm preparing kids to dream high, to prepare for a high performance lifestyle, to have success in any area that they choose. Because even though they may become tennis professionals for a period of time, and today they may be 35, 40, some even more, very few, a little bit more, but they will have a second life. And what are they going to do with the second life? From 35 till the end of their lives, from 45, they have to be prepared. They may become millionaires. How are they going to manage their money? So all these things are very important, and that's where my effort to pass on this kind of information to my players. They all live here. They come from all over Brazil, or some from outside of Brazil. I'm talking about my students. And we've been doing this for about 16 years now in this space here. We have put about 70 players into different universities. We earned about $7 million in scholarships for these families. Most families, or I would say most families, wouldn't be able to pay their kids' rides if it wasn't for their tennis and for their grades, which are very, very important. So it is a program where we emphasize the academic part, the tennis part, the social part, and prepare them for life. That's what I'm doing. I'm very, very happy with what I'm doing. How I'm touching each kid, their performance when they leave and they go to university, and how much they are learning from this experience here. So Fernando and guys, the coaches, that's what I've been doing. And I say hello to everybody, and thank you very much for watching this.
Thank you, Carlos. Wonderful presentation. And I want to congratulate you for all that you did for tennis, all you are doing for tennis, and all the life you are touching. It's a wonderful work and a wonderful experiences. Thank you to be on the World Tennis Conference, and thank you to be a GPTA member of the family that we are working hard to increase the quality of we are coaching tennis around the world. Thank you, Carlos.
Fernando, I'm the one to thank this whole movement of GPTCA, and with you and Alberto and all the guys, all the presidents involved around the world, especially through this difficult time of having courses and having coaches together, because it's been very difficult. But this idea of this worldwide coaches conference online, and all the work and all the people that you are bringing together to give a piece of their experience and their knowledge to everybody, is so rich that I'm taking 4 days off just to listen to the conference, and all the friends that will have wonderful ideas and tell wonderful stories for us all to be greater. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos.